inspect some facilities affected by rainstorm in the town. Strong signal indicates that barring any unforeseen circumstances, election will hold come Saturday, March the 18th. Sensitive materials for the conduct of the poll are now being received by officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) from the Central Bank of Nigeria here in Akure. Aside the electoral umpires' attendance at the venue, armed men of the Nigeria Police Force registered their presence in a bid to provide security cover. Acting Resident Electoral Commissioner in Ondo State, Oyekola Oyelami, who conducted representatives of the political parties to inspect the materials, expressed readiness of the commission to deliver its mandate. Oyelami enjoined political parties to play the game according to the rules, enjoining electorates to come out and exercise their franchise. The recently reconfigured bimodal voter registration system machines, according to the INEC boss, are ready for deployment. The State House of Assembly election in Ondo State will take place across the 3,933 polling units of the 203 wards. Now, we are now joining our correspondent, Saheed Aribisala, who is at the venue of the distribution of sensitive materials for more updates.
We are live at the Central Bank of Nigeria office here in Akure, Ondo State capital, where the distribution of the sensitive materials for March the 18th State House of Assembly election in Ondo State is already taking place. You remember that this election was postponed from last Saturday to this one coming in a few days' time. And of course, these sensitive materials, which has been in safekeeping with the Central Bank of Nigeria, have now been brought out in open space for INEC officials to take delivery and, of course, for onward deployment to the 18 local government areas of Ondo State. Earlier, while we spoke with the resident electoral officer here in Ondo State, who is also the administrative secretary, the acting resident electoral officer, I beg your pardon, who is also the administrative secretary, Oyekola Oyelami, he mentioned the fact that electorates must come out as a matter of necessity, looking at the fact that this election is for the grassroots, and of course these are the people who will make laws that will affect the people for the next 4 years. So we're hoping that these materials here now will be transported to the 18 local government areas with the security operatives who will be providing security cover for this safe delivery of the materials. The Commissioner of Police here in Ondo State, Oyeyemi Oyediro, has also registered his presence at this venue earlier today, and of course it's part of the activities to ensure that everything goes on as planned.
Well, our correspondent there, Saeed Aribisala, updating us on the distribution of sensitive materials ahead Saturday's election. One of the most powerful storms on record has brought widespread landslide and flooding to southern Malawi. It has claimed the lives of at least 190 people, and tens of thousands have been made homeless. Malawi's commercial hub, Blantyre, has recorded most of the deaths, including dozens of children. The government has declared a state of disaster in 10 southern districts that have been hardest hit by the storm. Reports say rescue workers are overwhelmed and using shovels to try to find survivors buried in mud.
There are plenty of houses, but they are all gone.
In the hospital where I am speaking from at the moment, they've had around 119 deaths. At least half of those are children. And the residents in where the mudslide was said that there were an awful lot more people buried in the mud. So I think that this is going to get worse.
The UK's Finance Minister will today unveil his spring budget. The economic outlook is less bleak than it was a year ago, but many across the country are still struggling with the soaring cost of living, and communities will be looking closely at whether Jeremy Hunt's budget will do enough to improve livelihoods. OOSRC reports.
One of the world's advanced economies, it may be, but the UK faces one of the worst economic outlook in a generation. People like Jasmine Almond and her husband Chris have found it too that full-time salaries no longer sustain a family of 4.
Can't believe you've grown up so quickly.
The high cost of living, especially childcare, means that Jasmine wasn't earning enough to pay the nursery fees. It worked out less expensive to give up her job as a teacher and care for daughter Katrina herself.
I am a wife and a mother, and I have to do the right thing for our household. I am just going week to week. We survive like that, and it's just life nowadays.
Today, Britain's Finance Minister Jeremy Hunt will deliver his first spring budget since taking the job last autumn. Childcare will feature and must take its place in a long queue.
Save our NHS!
Public sector workers on strike again even as the budget is announced. In an economy left reeling by COVID-19, Brexit and the war in Ukraine.
I think one area where there will be kind of a lot of focus, particularly on his decisions, is around public sector pay, and there's kind of a lot of pressure around that with strikes. We're seeing rising vacancies in the public sector. That's an area where we will see quite a lot of pressure.
And it is not just families looking for help, but whole communities, towns and cities across the country where political promises to level up inequalities have not been met. And slow growth has led to calls by business leaders for a clear strategy to attract investment. Take Coventry, for example, in the West. Once the center of manufacturing, so important to Britain's economy, but Hitler's Air Force took great care to bomb it to oblivion. Coventry's damaged cathedral is testament to those bleak times, but at the heart of this deindustrialized region, it is a hollowed-out place even now. Jeremy Hunt will announce funding for a new low tax in investment zones to try and spur business and growth in areas like this. Such is the scale of the task that his budget will offer no quick fix. OOSRC, OOSRC News.
The United States military has condemned what it calls a reckless maneuver by a Russian warplane that brought down one of its surveillance drones over the Black Sea. The Russian Foreign Ministry declines the claim, insisting there was no Russian interference before the aircraft crashed on approach to the Crimean coast.
What we saw again were fighter aircraft dumping fuel in front of this UAV and then getting so close to the aircraft that it actually damaged the propeller on the MQ-9. We assess that it likely caused some damage to the Russian aircraft as well.
This drone can carry 1,700 kilos of explosives. This drone can carry a few bombs. You see that what will be reaction of United States if you see such Russian drone very close, for example, to San Francisco or New York? What will be reaction of United States?
After 4 years of sterling leadership as chairman of Sports Writers Association of Nigeria SWAN Ondo State Chapter, Mr. Wahab Bankole of the Ondo State Media Group has officially handed over to an interim committee to pilot the affairs of the association. Mr. Bankole appreciated members of the association for giving him the opportunity to serve. Also appreciated Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu for his support to the association during his tenure. Mr. Bankole tasked the incoming executives to further raise the bar of the association and make members' welfare top priority. Femi Dairo of NTA assumes office as chairman, while Adewale Momo is secretary of the interim committee. And with that, we conclude World at Noon this afternoon. Thank you for watching.